Welcome to You're Probably Right, the space for straight talk about life, love, and the choices that shape who we are. No filters, no fluff, and no pretending it's easy. Just real stories, honest questions, and maybe the truth you didn't know you needed. Got something on your mind? Email us at yprpodcast@gmail.com. Now, let's get into it.
Yo, what's up? It is MCM. How you doing? Thank you for showing up again and hanging out with me for another fun-filled episode of You're Probably Right. I can't say it's going to be fun-filled, but let's just say it's going to be fun-filled. Sounds better, right? Today we're trying. Okay, so just get me. I'm always so optimistic about what we're going to do, but then I realized, what if we don't do it? But we're going to be going through 15 signs that they don't really love you. Understand that I haven't put anything in any type of order. So there might be some fluff where it might just mean the person doesn't trust you, which may not necessarily mean they don't love you. But these are just observations. Okay. And I'm going to play this for you too, because I need you to know this. And sometimes I don't say it in the best way. So check it out. Right there. Listen to this.
This is You're Probably Right. Entertainment first, everything else is just bonus. Opinions, all ours. Sometimes backed by research, but never the final word. There are always exceptions, so take it with a grain of salt and a slight dusting of chili powder.
Honestly. Little disclaimer, All right. So we're going to get right into it. I don't even have this thing set up, so you're just hanging out with me until I get this thing set up. If you're in a rush, you know where we are. You can always come back. But yeah. So 15 signs your partner doesn't actually love you. And this is part one. I wish I could just do this all in one shot. I mean, if I can really fly through this thing, I doubt it. But I mean, I've already wasted like 3 minutes already but we're going to get right into it anyways. Okay? So, welcome back, friends. Today, we need to have a heart-to-heart about something that's hard, as they say. 15 signs your partner doesn't actually love you. I know, just hearing that probably made your stomach drop for some of you. No one likes doubting someone they care about. But sometimes the clues are there, and ignoring them only leads to more pain down the road. So let's talk frankly. All right. Over the next 3 episodes, we'll walk through 15 warning signs, 5 at a time. It's a lot to cover, but take it one step at a time. That's what we're going to do. In this first part, we'll cover signs 1 through 5. Things like how they spend their time with you or don't, how they make plans, and how they talk to you. If you're listening, maybe you've noticed some red flags and need clarity. That beautiful word, clarity. Maybe it's something in the back of your mind that just doesn't feel right. Either way, I'm here with you. We're just hanging out. Don't take it too serious. Okay, but I mean, I guess I can't tell you what to take seriously, but just understand that I'm not out here just trying to destroy and ruin relationships either, okay? Because I know some people will jump on the bandwagon and say, oh, well, this guy said this, so it must be true. You still got to take it with a grain of salt, right? Okay. Remember, you are not crazy for wondering about these things. You deserve honesty, respect, and love. Whether these signs apply to your partner or not, understanding them empowers you. You'll know if those little niggles are just normal quirks or serious warning lights. It might be hard to admit, but knowing the truth is better than hoping for something that isn't there. Okay? All right. Enough of me rambling around. Let's drive and dive. Okay. So, number one, when they don't want to spend time with you. Okay. This one really cuts deep for most people. If your partner rarely wants to spend quality time with you, it's a serious sign. Now, I'm not talking about a person who's busy, but this is the person doesn't want to spend time with you. You understand there's a difference? Because there's some people who just don't have time to spend with you. They're out, accomplishing or trying to take over the whole world, and they don't have the time. And it's not that they don't want to. Usually those people will say, man, I wish I had more time to spend at home with you or whatever, or more time to spend with you in general, right? You'll hear the desire, you can feel the desire, and they'll say it as a desire. So that's different. In a loving relationship, both people look forward to doing things together. Hobbies, movies, dinner, long walks, even just sitting and talking. Now, I understand we all have different hobbies and sometimes our partners have no clue. But a lot of time when, you have a hobby and you have someone who loves you, they'll want to hang out and just watch you do it. Maybe you play basketball and they're just going to sit on the sidelines and watch you do it. Or maybe they'll talk to you while you crochet or whatever it is. Maybe they're not good at what your hobby is, but they'll want to, kind of bump around, and maybe watch you do it because they're that into you. You know what I mean? So yeah, there'll be like movies, maybe you could find a movie that you can both watch, or you have to, what do you call it? Compromise. Dinner, long walks, even just sitting and talking and hanging out, But if your partner makes every outing or hangout feel feel optional or inconvenient, something's off. For example, every time you suggest dinner or a short weekend trip, they find a reason to say maybe later. Think about it. If the roles were reversed, you'd make time for someone you love, right? Even when you're busy. If you find you're always the one reaching out or adjusting your schedule, and they consistently bail or seem too tired to pay attention, psychologists highlight this pattern as a warning sign. As one expert puts it, reduced interest in quality time together is an important signal that a partner might be falling out of love. In other words, someone who cares will value spending time with you. It's just that simple. Like, I know people's, I got to get up for work. And people will be saying we get that, but there's usually some kind of a bending of stuff, like there's certain things that can be bent. If the person has to be at work from 9 to 5, you can't just say you can cut out at 1 every day to be with you. Or, and maybe it's the fact that they can actually take a day off. They have all these sick days or all these personal days, and they never take one for you and you're home or you're available. And they would never do that. I must keep my days. If they no longer feel that way, your relationship is probably suffering. Even research confirms it. Couples who spend positive, supportive time together report much higher relationship satisfaction. It's just the way it is. Check that out at hbs.edu. When your partner isn't making those positive, supportive moments with you, you're missing out on key ingredients of love. It often looks like this. You call to see them, but they seem distracted or eager to get back to whatever it is they were doing. Their body language is distant. Even when you're in the same room, they might be on their phone or chatting with others instead of focusing on you. When you schedule time like dinner, movie night, just visit, they cancel or they show up late without an apology. You keep waiting on hold by yourself. Their excuses. They might tell you they have to get up early, they're really swamped with work, or they just don't feel like being social. But ask yourself, do they really cancel on their friends or avoid fun with others the same way? For example, they might happily stay out late playing video games, right, with their pals, but when you ask for a movie night, suddenly it's not a good time. The double standard, it speaks volumes. And I understand that, sometimes people just enjoy certain things, but the thing is, when you love someone, you start to enjoy the things that they enjoy, even if you have to enjoy them from a slight distance because you just can't get it, you just don't understand it, or whatever it is. So that's why, like, there are gray areas, but really, really think about it, you know? Your perspective, listen. You may catch yourself thinking maybe they're just stressed with work, or maybe I'm just too needy. It's natural to make those excuses at first, right? But if you find yourself every time, plans slipping away and in your gut, still whispers doubt, it's time to trust that feeling. Ask yourself, would you treat someone you love this way? Because chances are you would make time for them, even on a busy day. You know, and how it feels? You start to doubt yourself. You ask, did I do something wrong? Am I not interesting or fun anymore? There was times in your relationship when it didn't matter. Like, remember those? And understand there's different seasons in a relationship, right? Like maybe you're just getting to know each other, or there's a honeymoon phase where it's like, if you're a person who talks on the phone, or maybe you're just messaging or texting or whatever it is, but you'll message all through the night because everything's new till 3 o'clock in the morning, knowing full well that you got to get up at 5 or 6. You've done that a few times, right? Because there's just so much more information coming in, things you didn't know, things you want to know. So everything's just coming in. And then apparently, we know that that wears off after a while. But when it's totally, in a way where the person's avoiding doing these things with you, or spending time, or never breaking the rules on certain things, and they're putting up all kinds of boundaries or walls on certain things that they can still be flexible on, you got to ask yourself, right? Or when you see that they'll do that for other people, then you should really question what's going on. And it hurts, right? Remember, this isn't about your worth, it's about their level of interest, right? You feel lonely, confused when the person you care about doesn't want to spend time with you. That hurts. It's natural. Your feelings are completely valid. When a partner doesn't prioritize you, they're showing, maybe without meaning to, of course, that being with you isn't as exciting or important as it once was. This often happens with people who have an avoidant attachment style, of course. They get nervous with closeness and slowly pull away. It doesn't mean they're bad or that you did something terrible. It does mean your emotional needs aren't being met, though. Trust your gut. If you feel like the second fiddle in their life, sometimes something, needs attention. You deserve to feel like a priority, not an afterthought. Remember that. You are a priority. You're not an afterthought. If you are, and that's how you've been regularly treated, then it's time to take stock. And you might have to do something about it, Key takeaways. In a healthy relationship, both people treasure time together. If you find yourself always initiating and they consistently decline or flake on you or fake on you, that's a big red flag of, dwindling love. You deserve someone who wants to make time for you. And that is true. Sorry, guys. That water went down the wrong way. Okay. Sign number 2. Where are we at? 15 minutes? Almost. Okay. They don't respect your time. Another painful sign is when I may have to cough a few more times, guys. The water is still floating somewhere on the wrong part of my throat. Another painful sign is when your time isn't respected. This goes beyond the official lateness, or the occasional lateness, I should say, that happens to all of us, right? Got caught in traffic, or behind an accident, or couldn't get out of work because someone was holding you up, or maybe they had a partner or a customer that had an issue, so threw off their time. That happens, right? Maybe they work at a doctor's office, or where time isn't exact. Understandable every once in a while. And the thing is, when those things happen, a call should be put in, or a message should be put in, hey, I'm running late because, and it shouldn't be every single time. If your partner frequently shows up late, cancels at the last minute, or makes you jump through hoops just to see them, it's a red flag. You might find yourself rearranging your day on a whim, waiting by the phone, or planning around their unpredictable schedule. It starts to feel like your plans only happen if they decide it's convenient, and not a moment before. Think about it. Time is one of the most valuable things we have. It truly is. A partner who cares about you treats your time as precious as their own. But if they disrespect it, they're signaling that what they want is more important than what you want. In fact, a relationship advice blog points out, it's the water, that repeatedly canceling plans or making you wait is a clear sign they're not respecting your boundaries, or just you. In plain language, that means if they don't value your schedule or commitments, they're not valuing you. I'm sorry, it's just that way. And as I said, there are obvious exceptions to these things. It does happen from time to time. So don't say, oh, he was late this week. Well, what about last week? But if he's late this week, last week, the time before that, matter of fact, every single time, then yeah, he's not rushing, or she's not rushing to be with you. They really just think you're a pushover. It's like, something's happening, and every once in a while they could probably not be late, but they're like, don't worry about it. She'll be waiting, or he'll be waiting, or I'll be coming around the corner when I come. It often looks like this. You set a date for 7 p.m. movie night. You arrive, or you log on, whatever, at 7 sharp. Excited, at 8:15, still no word. Finally, they text, running late. Be there soon, with no apology. Or they call at 6:45 saying they can't make it again and shrug it off. Sometimes you end up eating dinner alone or turning in early because you thought you had plans. This isn't a one-time mishap, it's a recurring pattern. Typical excuse. They might say, traffic was terrible, work ran late, or I lost track of time. But listen to the tone. Is there a real remorse? That's for you to answer, right? When you bring it up, they might get defensive or promise to do better, and then the cycle repeats. It can feel like you've become the only one apologizing or trying to fix things. Your experience. You feel frustrated and maybe unimportant. You might rationalize, they might be under a lot of pressure, or blame yourself. Am I too demanding? But remember, someone who truly respects you won't keep taking advantage of your flexibility, even if you are flexible. You can't always be flexible. You can't always be twisted and turned. Sometimes it's not the time for it. You know what I mean? It can't just happen regularly. You have feelings. Everyone can be late occasionally, obviously. But if it's always you waiting, that says who they prioritize. After all, each time they make you wait, they're literally telling you that their time or someone else's time is more important than yours. This kind of disrespect can erode trust. If you can't rely on them to show up when promised, it makes you wonder about bigger commitments too. Not to be dramatic, but it's a natural feeling. If you can't trust them to be on time, how can you trust other promises? A study even ties in chronic lateness to certain selfish personality traits. Whether or not that's the case, the bottom line is a person who loves and respects you will show it by valuing your time. And we all know that time is so important. I mean, it's more valuable than money. People might think, as I was saying, people might think like different things are valuable, like your clothes, your car, your house, your kids, um, whatever, your gold, diamonds, whatever it is that you have that people say are your valuables, right? Nothing really outweighs your time. So if somebody's always disrespecting your time, it's just, it's not a good look at all because your time is limited no matter how you look. You might say, today, no, I got all day. But yeah, there's going to be a time when you don't have all day. And, and like, it's just, we have immortality. Not to say that you're going to die tomorrow, but you could. You know what I mean? And just, your time is valuable. I don't know how else to really quantify it or put it to you. You know what I mean? You are important. I understand. Maybe you don't even have a job. Your time still is valuable. It's time that you have taken your time. You could be anywhere else. Like those rappers say, you could be anywhere else in the world, but you're here with me, right? Because they realize that your time is valuable. Could be off somewhere buying new shoelaces, like whatever. You could be doing anything. You could be reading a book. You could be spending time maybe with a family member. You could be spending time looking for a new job. You could be across the country somewhere. You could be with someone else, but you have taken the time to be with them. And I think that's what people have to really understand is your time is valuable. Even if you don't have the quote unquote necessary things that function in a way in society that says that you have to be here or there at this specific time, the point is you still taken your time to be somewhere with this person, and they need to realize that. The takeaways: constantly being late or flaky sends a clear message. Your plans and time don't matter to them. In a loving partnership, your time should matter. If you notice this pattern, it's a serious signal they aren't valuing you or your life together. Don't dismiss it. Pay attention to it. All right, we've talked about time and respect. Next, let's look at what happens when planning itself feels half-hearted. All right, number 3. They don't put much thought into plans. Okay. Now, I'm not talking about the spur of the moment thing, but when you're actually planning to do something, right? Closely related to respecting your time is the effort put in planning activities together. Now, they might not, and again, I always just think of these things. What if they're not a good planner? And that is true. Sometimes some people just aren't good at planning. And funny enough, now we all have access to something called AI, where it can actually help you plan better, even if you're not good at it at this point. And most people have it on their phone or on a device that can help them, help me plan a dinner for 2, or help me plan a picnic, or help me plan a bowling night. You know what I mean? And it'll give you steps. It'll give you things to go through that maybe you haven't even ever considered because maybe you're just not a good you're not good at planning. Well, now it helps us. So it's almost like we all have a personal event planner in our pocket, in our cell phone, if you have an AI app or whatever, right? In a caring relationship, both people make an effort to create special moments, date nights, little surprise outings. But if your partner seems content with the bare minimum or never contributes ideas, that shows low investment. You might find yourself doing all the heavy lifting. Every date idea is your own, and every weekend activity comes from you, and they just go along with it. Over time, that feels exhausting and unfair. Now, again, for all the guys out there and some of the girls, I do realize that there are some people who that is their thing. Maybe if they could stop whatever job they're doing, whatever career they're doing, and become an event planner, that's just something that they would do and it comes easy for them. So I do understand that those unicorn, those people exist. But there should be a level of, even if the person, I'm telling you, even if they only come through once a 6 months or once a year, there's something that they're going to try to plan, even if things fall through and don't work out amazingly. There's going to be at some point that they're going to want to impress you, or even seeing that you're really good at it all the time. Something you'd think would probably rub off at some point. You know what I mean? Even if they fail horribly, just to know that they put the effort in to do it. Maybe they won't ever do it as well as you. That's probably a good chance that they're not going to ever do it as good as you if you're one of those people who are amazing at planning. But you will at least be able to see the effort. They will even be able to explain the steps and maybe where it went wrong, but there'll be something. You know what I mean? Think about it, about important occasions, birthdays, anniversaries, celebrations. Do you have to plan everything? For example, maybe all your best dates come from your own suggestions. The new restaurant, the fun road trip, the thoughtful gift, but your partner never asks you what you want or surprise you with anything. It often feels like being a traveling agent or an event planner, as I was saying, for your love life. While they sit back, if you started if you started to do that with them, chances are they'd notice right away, probably. And reading this, and sorry, sometimes my halting way of reading sometimes is because I'm there thinking, and I'm thinking back to my parents, and I was thinking when it's his birthdays, and I'm remembering, my dad never bought me a birthday present. You know what I mean? It just wasn't gonna happen. That was her deal, her job, if you want to say, right? He cared. A lot of time, my gifts would be a surprise to him as well. You know what I mean? But that was just something that she did. Now, I never felt a way, but the fact that I remember the fact that my mom was the only one buying me. If my dad had bought it, I guess it would have it would have meaned a little bit more. Do you understand? And I wouldn't have that memory. So you can say, oh, well, my mom really cared about me, or man, my dad was really slacking on that. You know what I mean? But it's funny how you just think about those things. Anyhow, experts describe this is a one-sided, and again, you know what? Let me stop it. And guys, just remember that thought, okay? My dad was an old bean when I was growing up. He was an older guy when I was really, really young, where if whoever bought my present and then actually, like, the thought of it actually mattered, he was in his 50s. And by then, I'm sure he knew how to go to the store and buy something. You know what I mean? Like, the most thing I can remember him buying me was a bag of chips at the grocery stores, and that's when he didn't forget it on the conveyor belt at the grocery store. That's another thing I remember. But and that's because he was old. But just remember, if you're allowing your spouse, your wife, to always buy the kids presents, always do up everything for everything. Just remember, if you ever decide to, and maybe it's just not a part of your thing. It's like saying, how many times did you see your mom clean the toilet? Maybe that wasn't her thing. Maybe that was dad's thing. But mom did it, you remember it. Or the day she took on trying to use a snowblower or cut the grass. You know what I mean? Something that was out of the ordinary. Just remember, as parents in general, kids remember when you go the extra mile and do something that's out of your wheelhouse. You understand? Out of the things that you are usually able to do and able to do well. So just remember that children and your spouse or your long-term girlfriend or boyfriend, whatever it is, will always remember the day that you took the time to put effort into something that you're not good at. And that shows a lot to everybody. Just think about your own past. Think about your own relationships. Think about your own parents. It makes a difference. Okay. Experts describe this as one-sided relationship pattern. A health and relationship guide explains that in one-sided partnerships, It often falls to one partner to arrange everything, planning trips or dates, picking up food for dinner, checking in when you haven't talked in a few days. It may seem as if the relationship would collapse entirely if you stopped working to sustain it. Ouch, as they say. The quote really nails it. If you stopped doing all the planning, the relationship might not hold together. And although it might be just the way that you guys deal, it does get exhausting. It often looks like this. You come up with a fun idea, a weekend road trip, a nice dinner, tickets to a show, and they barely react or complain. It's too much work. On date night, your partner might answer with a casual, whatever you want, never realizing that means you're doing all the dreaming. If you try to involve them, what would you like to do? They shrug and they have, they're just in, just no decision. Their attitude, they treat date night plans like a chore. They might say, we could just chill at home, even though neither of you has gone out like in a long time. Maybe you suggest a cooking class and they look annoyed that it's too much effort. They don't even research options or prices. It's all on you. Meanwhile, they never take the initiative to plan a single special occasion or try to surprise you. Surprises are good, by the way, because the fact that they're not expected means a lot of the time it just has to be the thought. Do you understand? You can surprise somebody and it might be the world to them, not because of all the steps you took, but the fact that you thought, let me do something special for her, or let me do something special for him, out of the blue. And just the fact that you came up with it in the first place, it might be amazing. You know, your experience. You feel taken for granted. You might joke, okay, I'll plan our next 10 dates, but inside it stings. You wonder if they even care what you enjoy. It's lonely, like you're the only one building memories while they're remaining a passenger in the relationship. Every little thing becomes an opportunity for resentment. I planned that concert, you just showed up, or I researched that anniversary dinner, you just came along. This lack of effort is a big red flag. Oh, sorry. Watching this wave file here. Okay, relationships thrive on mutual giving. When one person does all the giving, including all the planning, the other partner is disinterested, it's glaring. You can see it. Think about it. Someone who really cares would want you to, want you to care. They would want that moment to be special for you as well. They'd at least ask, what do you want to do tonight? Or surprise you with something thoughtful. If your partner struggles with organization or organizing, they would at least try or learn to be thoughtful in other words and other ways. And that's my whole point about, everybody having the access to Google, of course, and now AI, which can do a lot more than Google. Depending on how much you use it, it can really get to know your tendencies and things you like and even help that way. So it's a matter of somebody just accessing it and trying. Okay, key takeaways. If it always falls on you to plan everything, the balance is off. A healthy partnership is a two-way street. Building a life together should be shared. If you're the only one staring, it suggests your partner isn't fully invested in you yet, at least. Trust that feeling. You should feel excited by your plans together, not worn out. Now that we've covered planning, let's move on to number 4, the signs around physical and emotional closeness. All right. Sign number 4. They don't think it's worth their time getting intimate with you. uh, right off the bat, I'm remembering, you know, not from my life, but apparently, if you're not good at stuff, um, sometimes people will look at it in a way to say whether it's really worth their time to go through all that whole rigmarole with you if you're really horrible at it. Just saying. You take that for whatever you want to take it for. Okay. Intimacy is a broad word. It can mean cuddling and kissing, sexual closeness, or even deep emotional sharing. If your partner consistently avoids all of these things, it hurts. No matter who you are, it hurts. You might notice they never reach out to hold your hand or hug you goodbye, or they dodge cuddling and duck and dodge you like if you're playing tag um, on the couch. Maybe they always have a headache when you get close, or they always are too tired for anything romantic after dinner. Over time, this can feel like a silent rejection. Across the board, experts say that a big drop in intimacy is a warning sign. As psychologist Carla Mary mainly says, or Carla Carla Marie mainly, geez, explains, sexual intimacy waxes and wanes during most relationships. You know, it goes up and it goes down, but a slow or sudden shift in sexual desire often signals a lack of romantic love. Put simply, if the spark that used to draw you together is missing and they consistently show no interest in rekindling it, it's an indication that their feelings have unfortunately changed. Not talking about drive, it's different. It often looks like this. You make a loving move, a tender kiss, or a gentle touch, and they stiffen or pull away. Invitations to get romantic are met with excuses like, I'm too tired, not tonight. Every single time. Yeah, I'm telling you, it can happen every single time. When you talk about wanting closeness or affection, they seem uncomfortable or they change the subject. Over time, the physical distance, sleeping in separate beds, always watching separate shows on the couch, feels like emotional distance too. Their attitude. They may treat affection like a chore or an obligation. And I'm telling you, many guys are saying amen. They want and I'm not saying there's no girls, but I'm saying it's more on the guy side, trust me. They won't initiate cuddling or any romance, often not even noticing when you try. Instead of flirting or being warm, everything becomes very practical or businesslike. They might act annoyed if you try to be intimate, as if you're advancing, as if your advances are just an inconvenience. Your experience. You feel confused and insecure. You loved the way they used to be with you, but that person seemed to be gone and nowhere in sight. It's common to start asking yourself, why don't they find me attractive anymore? Or did I do something wrong? Remember, this lack of interest is about them, not you. It can be very painful to feel unwanted by someone you care about, and it's normal to feel hurt and confused. And I know some people are going to think, well, I did gain 50 pounds after the kids, or I just gained 50 pounds and there was no kids. But when you're with someone, after a while, things like weight, hair loss, what else can I say? Just things that maybe they wouldn't have picked up, or they wouldn't have tried dating, but it goes beyond the superficial things. You know what I mean? Or things happen that are superficially maybe unattractive in a general sense, but when you're in a loving relationship, usually you can look right. It'll just be a thing. Oh, you don't have much hair anymore, but it's like, well, it's still you, and I love you. You know what I mean? But when those physical things, and maybe it's something that you're even trying, but you're not having very much success with, for whatever reason, maybe it's genetics or whatever, Um, Usually, a person loves you, they can look past a lot of those things. Of course, there can be the real reason for, a drop in intimacy, as I was saying. Stress, illness, or other issues can affect desire. But when it's a steady pattern with no effort to work on it, or no effort to work on it at all, it's more like a sign of fading love. Even then, a caring partner would communicate their struggles or get help. If the topic is always shut down or ignored, it's telling. Maybe they need Viagra. Who knows? And the funny thing is, a guy will go get Viagra, and then a woman will say, "Well, you need Viagra to be with me." You know what I mean? Some guys can't catch a break. Understanding that guys have apparatus or apparati. Is that a word? That have to be in a certain state to be useful in certain respects. You understand what I'm saying? Whereas women don't. And I know certain things have to happen for the woman. I'm just happen to be talking about real sexual intimacy. But there's things that we can do or we can purchase that get around certain things. Whereas a guy has to be at a certain level of, to even do anything. So just remember that. And yeah, if you need the blue pill or the yellow pill or whatever the pill is to do things, please don't take it personally, right? We have different things going on with our physiological being, and sometimes it's psychological. You never know. It could be anxiety. You know what I mean? It could be overwork. It could be tiredness for guys. Just saying. So give the guy a break and don't focus on it. If you focus on it, he's going to focus on it. And trust me, it's going to be a problem. Pill or no pill. There you go. Take that. Take that. Key takeaway. If your partner rarely or never seeks physical or emotional closeness, that's a major sign. Never. A loving partner will want to be near you. When they don't, it suggests they're no longer invested in keeping the connection alive. This is hard to hear, I know, but it's important to recognize it's, rather than chalk it up as, it's just a phase. That leaves us with a final one for this episode. Number 5. They speak to you like a friend and not like a lover. This is the vibe you should watch out for. Notice this. Notice how your partner talks to you. In a romantic relationship, partners often use affectionate language, playful teasing, warm tones. But if your partner's words and tones feel entirely platonic or even parental, it can hurt your heart. For example, maybe they call you buddy or dude instead of sweet names. And sometimes those can be affectionate as well. I can just imagine a dude calling his wife buddy. But I know that happens, so it's not in every case. So trust me, I understand. Or every conversation is about ordinary stuff, the weather, work, groceries, with no personal romantic flavor. It can start to feel like you're more roommates or colleagues than lovers. A key clue is nicknames and tone. Relationship experts note that if using cute pet names like honey, baby, or darling feel unnatural or forced, it suggests the relationship has turned more into like a friendship. Maybe you never hear them say, I love you, or I miss you, or, or only a flat later. They might respond to your good news without excitement, just a quick congrats. Even emojis in your text can feel telling. If a heart emoji has vanished from their messages, it might be symbolic. Over time, and try not to look into everything, guys, but I understand. That's why I'm literally smiling as I'm reading. Over time, this lack of romantic language and warmth makes you feel like an outsider in your own relationship. It often looks like this. Your partner never uses terms of endearment. Their messages might be curt or natural. Okay, on my way. Okay, You might try a little flirtation or a loving compliment and they just shrug or don't reciprocate. They treat your news or problems the same way they treat their friends, with practicality, not with shared emotion. Like, oh, I understand you're feeling bad. I feel bad for you, or that must hurt. You like none of that. You get none of that stuff. Their tone. Think about how they respond to your success. A loving partner might say, I'm so happy for you, you know, with warmth in their voice. If your partner just mutters, that's great, with no enthusiasm, it feels flat. Or when you're upset, they might just, give practical advice like a dude, like a buddy. Well, that's life, instead of comforting you at all. This cold or distant tone can be a stark contrast to the laughter and passion you expected from someone in love. Your experience. You feel taken for granted emotionally. Conversations leave you empty. You miss that spark you used to feel when talking to them. Maybe you used to have inside jokes or gentle nicknames, and now it's gone. Over time, you start to feel more like a roommate, a coworker, a sibling, maybe. It's a subtle thing, but trust me, it's real. The way someone talks tells you a lot about how they feel. Now, of course, everyone's style is a little different. Some people aren't big on PDA or talk, or what is this? Sorry. Or talk, heavy emotion. But if you want affection, it's completely absent from them. Pay attention. A healthy relationship usually has a mix of friendship and romance. So both things are supposed to be present, right? When it's only friendship mode all the time, the romantic side is dead. As one relationship guy says, not using sweet words or pet names can mean the connection is leaning more towards friendship. In a way, it's as if you've been friend zoned without actually breaking up, which is weird and uncomfortable for most people. Key takeaways. If your partner consistently talks to you without any romance, just friendly or natural and neutral talk, it often reflects how they feel inside. In a loving relationship, you would expect some warmth or passion, or even, you know, everyday, even everyday chatter, just chilling, just talking, not everything so robotic. When that's missing, it's a sign that they may see you more as a pal than a sweetheart. That's a hard realization, but it's a sign that you probably should pay attention to. Okay, hang on. Let me just move this thing down here. We're wrapping it up here, guys. Let me just slide this thing down a little bit. And right there, it's good. All right, good. All right. Okay, so wrapping up part one. Hang on a second. Okay. Sorry about that. I couldn't hear the music for a second. It was on my side. I think there's so much stuff on my computer. Sometimes things just lag for apparently no reason besides the fact that there's too much stuff on my computer. Okay. We've covered 5 tough signs today. I know this may feel like a lot, maybe even painful, but information is power and there's always something you can do in many cases. Recognizing these patterns gives you clarity at least. Remember, you don't deserve to be taken for granted or treated like an option. If you spotted one or more of these signs with your partner, trust your instincts. It could be time for an honest conversation at least, or to consider what you want from your relationship, both of you. You deserve someone who cherishes you, makes time for you, and shows it in actions and in word. Hearing that someone might not love you isn't easy, but it's a first step towards finally finding true happiness, either by fixing what can be fixed or by moving on to someone who truly actually cares. You have one life, one heart. You deserve honesty and respect. In part 2, we'll go through 6 through 10. We'll continue to empower you with insights. We'll be discussing things like communication breakdown, constant excuses, or feeling unsafe, sharing feelings. If this episode resonated with you, consider please subscribing or following or sharing with someone who might need it. Anyhow, guys, take care of yourself. And remember, you're not alone in this. You are worthy of love that feels good every day. Tune in next time, please. Okay? Take care of yourself. Hey, come check out You're Probably Right podcast. Society is getting more unpredictable every day, but at the same time, predictable in its unpredictability. Say that 4 times real fast. Come with me as I attempt to find clarity in all the fog while staying way outside the box and kicking the box way down the road with my size 12 dogs. I use the Bible, experience, education, fortune, misfortune, life's lessons, life's mistakes to sort through all the mess. I talk about news, God, God, self-help, sports, sickness, health, music, parenting, love, humbleness, hurt, pain, joy, and all the things that might make you say, I never thought of it that way. Hopefully, anyway. Also, I take a stab at answering tough and not so tough questions, and all the while understand that, listen, sometimes you end up in the hot seat and there's no thermostat. Well, that's how it is here. And because there's no topic, very few topics off the table, Torontonians will understand that Doug Ford reference there. Hopefully the podcast will be helpful and uplifting. And hey, maybe you'll find your own private Idaho here somewhere. Hope to see you soon.